Alright, what's going on everybody? It's Leroy's Wizards here. This is basically going to be a new player tutorial slash video guide for new players that are coming into the game. There was a forum post recently that said something along the lines of that new player retention was a problem, and partly due to that was because there wasn't really a set in stone or straightforward tutorial for the game, because you basically just go into Garrison and learn on your own with no real like step one into step two, etc., etc. So I basically decided that I'm gonna try my hand at this and make a tutorial video. I'm just gonna basically show you all the loadouts that you should definitely know about. Maybe a couple tricks with a few of the loadouts. There's not really too many you need to know about. Um, and then I'll have a full game's worth of gameplay at the end of the tutorial, so you can see how a game is played. General game, that is. So, without further ado, let's get right into the loadouts in the garrison. Alright, so here we are in the garrison, and I have a plethora of builds here to discuss, but I'm going to try to be as brief as I can with each build. Uh, for two reasons. One, because there's a lot of builds here, and two, I tend to ramble on a lot and get way too in depth about certain shit, so I'm gonna do my best here to just be brief and just briefly explain what you should use per build and what you should do. First thing I'm going to do though is I'm going to explain what all these different slots are, as it's obviously you definitely should know what these different slots are. It's pretty important to know. There are some that don't matter as much, like the two pistol slots here and the trinket slots, so I'm not really going to go into those. I'm just going to go into all the other ones. And this one doesn't really matter. This is a tactical specific one. So this obviously is a bolt gun. This right here is a scope slot. You can choose to put a scope there if you would want to. A lot of people tend to do that. I personally don't. That's for my specific playstyle reasoning. I do have a scope loadout, and my elite has a scope loadout, just in case I do need it. It's primarily used against heavy bolter suppression, so that's why you would take it. If you want to take it, I highly suggest you do. If you don't, you don't worry about it. Um, you would take a grenade over the scope. I prefer a grenade over the scope. That's why I don't have one. It's purely based out on loadout points, so I can't take both with the current loadout points of this build. So this is a CQC barrel. Currently the best barrel in the game. It adds 4 damage to your your body shot bolter shots currently. So it goes from 38 to 42. Currently the strongest barrel in the game, as I said. Always use this for a bolt gun. Textured grip, basically the same thing as a barrel. It's the strongest in the game. Highly recommend you use this. Your ADS accuracy is increased by 50% and hip fire is increased by 30% just off the numbers alone. So definitely use this over any other grip in the game. Drum mag. This basically increases your ammo count per clip from 30 to 60. Highly recommend you use this. Once you unlock it, that is. It's going to take a while before you get it. Definitely get a box mag. I would use a box mag over like the armor penetration clip or fast reload mag, purely because neither of them really matter, honestly. The box mag, the utility of having the 10 extra rounds per clip, even though you get less ammo overall, it's still worth using, in my opinion, over a 30 rounder. Just because of the amount of ammo you have to work with per clip, and you generally won't be entirely out of ammo without an ammo pack. So I would just use a box mag until you get the drum mag. I would not use anything else. Alright, so next we have the armor slot. This is the gold armor. This is the rank 5 armor. When you start out, you're going to have gray armor, which is just the regular power armor. At rank 3 for CSM specifically, you get warp touched armor, which is red armor, which is this. The red armor gives you 20 armor, 20 toughness, and a half second less on the delay of your armor regeneration. Sorry, I gotta go ahead and just be active here, otherwise it's gonna kick me. So, yeah, that's red armor. Definitely, obviously you want to use that. That's an armor upgrade. And gold armor adds 30 toughness, 30 armor, and a full second less on the delay of your armor regeneration. So obviously use this when you get it. I will say this though, there are certain builds where you're only going to be able to use red armor because you want to open up the loadout points per loadout to get shit like this if you're a ground assault like this class is, and a plasma pistol. So there's a multitude of ways you can go about builds. You don't have to use red armor for like melee builds, for instance. You can use gold armor if you want. No build is really set in stone. Uh, for bolt guns, it's a little bit different because I mean, this is only one of the two builds that you can really do to be the most efficient. The mark is different. I use Slanesh. Obviously, these are the two War Gear slots. This is the War Gear 1 slot, which you're going to be the most familiar with. With CSM specifically, there's 4 different types of marks you can get. So this one right here is Slanesh. You have a 33% increased run speed, space, and then 15% increased sprint speed when you're sprinting. And this is very good for flanking, AD/AD strafing, things of that nature. I run this because it just fits my playstyle more. The other marks, Mark of Nurgle is by far the most used mark and most useful mark, I would say, out of all of them. It's just a good all-around versatile mark because it just gives you flat stats and makes CSM very tanky. You get 30 toughness out of it and 20 health and then you have that stacked with this. It gives you a total of 160 toughness, which is just absolutely fucking bonkers. And then you have 220 health on top of that and like 130, 140 armor or some bullshit. It's pretty crazy. That's why people use Mark of Nurgle mostly, is just because of how tanky you can get with it. So, up to you what you want to use. The other two marks I'll make mentions of, they're not really used all too much. Mark of Tzeentch reduces your total health pool by 15%. Your armor regen rate is increased by 100%, so it's basically twice as fast. And then your armor regen delay, basically the delay before your armor regen starts regenerating, is cut in half. So for bolters specifically, the Tzeentch playstyle, you will take cover, you'll peek, you'll shoot somebody, shoot a bunch of people. Once your armor's gone, you want to take cover. Your armor basically starts instantly regenerating after like a second when you take cover. So after your armor's regenerated, you peek again. You start firing, take cover, and you just keep rinsing and repeating and just playing off your armor regen. Then Khorne adds 20 health, 15% ranged lifesteal, and 30% melee lifesteal. So Khorne's basically a melee sort of mark. Like I said, all these marks are interchangeable for whatever spec you want, or for whatever class you decide to play. So the War Gear 2 slot, there's nothing really too crazy about it. It kind of just adds extra stats if you have the loadout points to spend. Like, for instance, this build, I think this is like a plus 20 health if I remember correctly, so that's why I have red armor, so I can just add onto the health from this onto this, so it's like plus 40 health off of this right here. And Mark of Nurgle gives you so much toughness anyway, so with this build I have 150 toughness with all that extra health. So it's the more toughness you get, the harder it is to burn through armor and health. That's why another reason why Mark of Nurgle is just so widely used. So that is War Gear 2. There's nothing really else to explain about it. It's just kind of extra stats to throw in if you have the loadout points available to you. Like I said, these slots and these slots, don't really worry about them. These are just extra trinket slots if you just need filler loadout points to be filled. They give you like plus 4 health, plus 3 armor, plus 1 armor, plus 2 health. They give you all sorts of little extra armor and health points. Nothing really to worry about there. And then pistol, this is obviously the alternate weapon in case you run out of ammo on this. So just switch to this whenever you can't reload this and need to kill somebody in front of you. So you don't have to ever put anything on the pistol. The pistol's fine by itself. This is obviously an ammo pack, so if you have a round of ammo on this, just pop this, just press your whatever keybind you have for it. Mine personally is E. I'm not sure if that's the default. I've been playing too fucking long. So whenever you run out of ammo on this, just pop this. You'll be right back to full. And then, of course, as I mentioned a little bit towards the beginning of this, this is the grenade slot. Some people don't run a grenade. They would rather run a scope. For CSM specifically, you can't run both with this specific loadout. You either have to run this without this or this without this. So I choose to not have a scope and just run with a grenade. It's much easier to push into a point with this because of the nade trick, which I will show you momentarily here after I finish explaining all this. So yeah, I prefer the utility of the grenade. I can easily play around getting suppressed by heavy bolter just by moving with Slanesh and just flanking. So that's why I don't use it. Entirely up to you what you want to use. You do not absolutely 110,000% need to use a grenade. You can easily make do without it and run with the scope here. This is the capture key. This is Traitor specific, or tactical specific, I should say. This is just to capture points. And in the game I have, at the end of the video, I'm not attacking, but I am defending. I'm pretty sure I do cap some points back, so you will see that. I'll be narrating over the video. I tried to get a video of me playing a game and commentating during it, but I just kind of got too distracted. Like, the amount of things that go on in my head during the game is just too much to actually try to narrate, so that's why I'm just going to be narrating over it and trying to simplify it for you. Because I was just going way too in-depth with macro play on the map. I was just going way too in-depth. Fucking League of Legends, thanks for that. Alright, and this is just the squad leader mark right here. This, depending on the mark you have, for Slaanesh specifically, this gives you 5% decreased spread when you're stationary or moving on whatever weapon you have. So this basically just makes you a little bit more accurate. I mean, why the fuck not, right? The Nurgle one, you take 5% less melee and range damage if you're squad leader, and of course, when you have this markup in your squad leader, your squad members also get this buff if they're around you. So if you have a really big squad, excuse me, I'm running out of breath here. If you have a really big squad and you're running towards a point with, like, let's say 5 squad members with you, they're all going to get this buff, and it's just Nurgle. This is also another reason why Nurgle is used over Slaanesh or over any other mark, really. It's just because Nurgle just makes you so bloody tanky. It's just way too good of a mark. I'm surprised it hasn't been nerfed yet. It's just too fucking strong. That's just my opinion, of course. You know, everyone else can have an opinion about that, but that's just my opinion. I think Nurgle's just fucking crazy. So that's basically all the slots in a nutshell right there. I'm going to go ahead and show you that nade trick I told you about earlier. So let's go over here. And this is in the garrison. This is the ring where a lot of people will fight each other. This is the dueling ring. So, as you know, this bolt gun, you know, just fire and shit. You know, standard bolt gun shit. Now with the grenade, what you could normally do is you just toss it and let it explode. Whoop-de-doo, right? It just explodes when it wants to. Or you can just do this. You can control the detonation with your bolt gun. You can do a lot of trick shots with this. Like, you can, let's say, lob it all the way over here. I'm probably going to miss this. Yeah, I'm going to miss that. But as I said, you can do a lot of trick shots with this, and it's very useful when coming around points. Like, let's say this is a corridor right here, and you're sitting back here, just, you know, defending. Let's say this isn't even in the way here. And let's say there's like 3 LSM back here. You just pop a grenade over there, and then as soon as it hits back there, you just blow it up, and then they either die or they're really low and stunned. You just come around and just fucking gun them down. That's why the grenade trick, I feel, is better than having a scope. But that's up to you. That's just my playstyle. I heavily abuse that. I just realized I quit out of the garrison. Whoops. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and cut the video here, and we're going to get into the other loadouts that I'm going to explain to you. So let's get into that. Alright, so I connected back to the garrison after being an idiot and connecting out. So the first loadout I'm going to show you is the heavy bolter loadout, and I'm going to try to be as brief as I can with these loadouts because I don't want to go into too much detail. So obviously, as you can see, I move pretty slow with the heavy bolter, so this is not something you want to run around solo with. You want to be with your team here. There's 2 ways to use this when you're defending. Obviously, let's say this is a point here. You would come up to one of the walls here, and then you just brace it like this. The brace button is whatever your ADS button is. You just sit here and brace it, and you would just mow down enemies trying to run across here, or like the flanks and stuff. And when you're attacking, let's say this is a point you're attacking right here. Let's switch it up here. You'd come down here, and let's see if I can brace it anywhere. I can't really brace it anywhere. Let's just say this is like facing that way. You just brace it here. Yeah, I guess you can kind of do that. Alright, so yeah, you would basically, let's say there's like a bunch of people, you know, sitting up there. This is where you would suppress any of the bolters and just basically just kill anybody on there with a heavy bolter. So that's 2 ways to play it. Like I said earlier, you don't want to be solo with this build because, as you can see, I am moving very slowly. This is with Nurgle, and obviously you can't really melee all too much. And if you get caught with this, like in really close range, it takes a long amount of time to actually prime this thing up and start shooting. So like I'm holding, like the second I start lifting this, I'm holding down my fire button. It takes a long time. There is a way to like this right here. There is a way to like speed that up, but still you don't want to be caught solo with this. So it's a very team play based class. So that's Heavy Bolter right there. Let's go ahead and go right into the next one. All right, so this next one is a Lascannon loadout. This is basically the long range anti-vehicle loadout. Basically all this is used mainly in fortress maps. It can be used in any map though. Let's say this is a Rhino right here or a transport. You just sit here. You just let it lock on, and it will, after either 1.5 or 2 seconds, depending if you have a normal or a master crafted, it'll fire and do a lot of damage to the vehicle, and then it'll have a cooldown time, and then you just prime it up again, and then bam, you just kill it. So that's all Lascannon is. Once again, something you just want to have your team around to cover you. It's not something you want to be caught out doing alone. So that's all Lascannon is. Let's go right into the next build. Alright, so this next one is going to be the Ground Assault for the CSM. I'm going to go into a little bit of depth here with melee, just so you know what the melee system is. At least, because a lot of players that come in have no clue what the fucking melee system is, and they just say, what the fuck, I don't know how to counter this. So I'll go into the melee system real quick right here. So, there's 3 different types of attacks for the melee system. There's this, which is a fast attack. And then there's this, which is a defensive bash or kick, whatever you want to call it. To do that, you left click and immediately right click right after to do that. And then the third attack is a heavy attack, which you hold down your right click for. So the way the system works is it's rock, paper, scissors. So, one beats the other. So light attack will beat heavy attack. And then defensive bash will beat light attack. And then heavy attack will beat defensive bash. And there are like you're gonna have to. I'm not gonna go into all the details of it because there's so many different patterns and playstyles and mind games that go into melee with what players can do and what they expect another melee player to do. So I don't want to get into too much detail because I'm gonna ramble on for like 30 fucking minutes like an idiot. But that's basically the melee system right there. I would just play and play melee, play against melee. There is one thing I will say though, is ranged players, if you're going to play melee, a lot of ranged players will try to debash because they don't want to get caught in an extended fight with their knife. So I would say when you get close to a melee player, just heavy attack instead of just light or debash. Most of the time you'll win out in the trade and you'll stun him, beating his debash with a heavy attack. So that's the melee system in a nutshell right there. I am going to explain the tiers a bit. There are weapon tiers. So the lowest tier are knives, which are what ranged have, tacticals mainly. The next tier are chain swords and chain axes, which is right above knives. This is basically these tiers are basically for the durability and clang power of these weapons. The next tier up would be power swords, mauls, and axes, and then the top tier would be power fists and claws. Swords are mainly what you're going to be wanting to use because they're the fastest. The mauls and axes are slower because they're stronger weapons. I would not recommend using those. Swords generally are perfectly fine. Melee feels a lot better when you have the speed of a sword rather than an axe or a maul. That dude just fell down on my screen. Obviously, since power fists and power claws are, the top of the board here, they are obviously the slowest. They are very slow. They're basically the melee version of anti-tank. They're mainly used for killing rhinos and stuff like that. They do a lot of damage. They do like 1800 damage per heavy attack, which is fucking insane. They can kill a rhino within like 4 or 5 hits probably. So power fist, I would not be too worried running into one of those as an infantry. You're primarily going to be seeing them to be used as anti-tank. So yep, that's the tiers in a nutshell. What the tiers do mean, though, is let's say my chain sword clangs with a power sword. What happens is I will lose durability on the chain sword because I have a weaker weapon than a power sword. So the more let's just say we're spamming fast attack into each other, which by the way, don't spam fast attack. You don't ever want to do that. But let's just say hypothetically we're just clanging with each other a bunch. He has a power sword, so I'm going to lose durability a lot faster than he will. So my weapon will break a lot quicker than his if we clang too much, and I will automatically be stunned, and he's basically just going to kill me. So that's what the tiers mean. The power fist can completely drain any other weapon's durability within like 2 to 3 clangs probably. Like the penetration is pretty crazy. So Yeah, not the penetration, the impact. I'm not sure which one actually drops durability. I'm pretty sure it's impact. I'm not very familiar with melee. The intricacies of it is, besides the system itself. So that's all I'm going to go into melee. I don't want to go too in depth, like I said. So that's the system. Let's get right into the next loadout. So this is the next loadout. This is basically another melee loadout. It's just a jump pack assault version. It's basically just melee, but you have a jump pack. One thing with jump packs is if you are a free-to-play player, I believe this is locked to premium only. So free-to-play players cannot play a jump assault class, but you can play a ground assault, I'm pretty sure. Jump pack assaults are very useful, especially if you're pretty good with the melee system and reading player tendencies and patterns. The way jump assault works is you jump up in the air and the red arrows on the ground indicate where you want to slam. If you right click or whatever your melee button is, you will jump on the ground and this big explosion that you do, anybody that's around you will be AoE stunned, and then generally you want to follow with a fast attack and then a heavy attack. Because generally while they're stunned, you're going to get a free fast attack in, and they're either going to debash or roll out and panic, and then you get a free heavy attack in. So that's all I'm going to go into with Jump Assault. Jump Assault is basically like regular melee, it's just with a jump pack. That's all it is. Let's get right into the next loadout. Alright, so this next one is another jump pack build. But like I said earlier with the Power Fist, this is a Power Fist. This is generally anti-tank. I will show you how slow this is though real quick. It's this slow. This guy's in my way. See how slow this is? This is pretty fucking slow. This is why it's not used as infantry. I'm not sure what this dude's doing. You see how fast this dude's sword is actually? He's actually being useful. He's just spamming fast attack. He's much quicker, as you can see. And this is the heavy attack. This guy's in my way. So now if we clanged right there, his sword would be like, oh my gosh, dude, get out of my way. Anyways, let's say this is a Rhino here. You would just charge up a heavy attack, and then you would smack it right there. And it would do a lot of damage. It would actually knock back the Rhino a little bit. So that's all this is. That's all Power Fist is. You can use it for a ground assault too, or for any melee loadout. I just used it for a jump assault, that's all. So yeah, that's Power Fist. Let's get right into the next loadout. Alright, so this is the other ranged version of anti-tank. This is the Meltagun. It's basically a flamethrower, as you can see. What I do have instead of a regular grenade, though, is I have a Melta-Bomb, which you walk up to a vehicle, you drop it, and after a while, it'll prime up and explode. And then, while that's happening, you just go ahead and Meltagun the rhinos, or whatever you're hitting that's a vehicle, and it'll do a lot of damage. There is one other version of it, and that's the Multi-melta, which I'm pretty sure does more damage than a regular Meltagun. It's a heavy build, so as you can see, I run a lot slower. Has more ammo, though. And then it's the same thing. It's just it has a lot more recoil with it, so you have to pull down on your mouse a lot as it's coming up like this. And it does a lot of damage. So that's the heavy version of it. You can choose either. I prefer the tactical because it's much faster. You can run around much quicker, get away from people trying to defend the Rhino when they spawn in on it. Entirely up to you, but those are the two versions of the Meltagun anti-tank. So let's get right into the next loadout. Alright, so I'm going to go into all the Sorc builds here. This is the regular Sorc without any crazy mark. I do believe I have the Slanesh heal, which I'll explain each of these briefly. This guy's probably so confused why I keep spawning with different classes. So this is the regular Sorcerer. This is just the CSM healer. Normally what would happen is this is just a regular healing beam. You know, target somebody and left click. And you heal them. This guy's going to follow me now. The thing with this one is this is the Slanesh heal, so they can also work as a heal on this guy. And see, he has the normal one. He doesn't have a mark-specific one. That's just the normal one. See how mine's brighter? This one can also be used on enemies and be used as warp instability, which warp instability is this. This is the strongest version of warp instability. The Slanesh heal, which is Hysterical Frenzy, this is a weaker version of it. And what that red beam does is it adds a damage debuff onto the enemy. And obviously I can't use it on a friendly, the regular warp instability, but if I switch to this, I can use it on him. So yeah, that's basically the Slanesh Sorc heals. Now let me go ahead and go to the other ones here. I have a plethora of here to go through. Actually I only have two, really? Okay. This is the Tzeentch one. There's two different abilities. The Tzeentch one, this is the AoE. Basically what this does is any players around you are healed, including yourself, with a heal over time buff on you. And the other ability is Flickering Fire, which got buffed recently, but basically what happens is you just hold this down, and it'll add a fire dot, as you can see, and it'll just keep spamming like over and over and over, so long as you hold it down onto your target. As you can see on the bottom, though, it eats mana like crazy, so keep in mind of that. I would not recommend flickering fire, though. It's apparently still pretty bad compared to Lash of Slaanesh, that is. Which I didn't show you in the Slaanesh one, but Lash of Slaanesh is the other offensive version besides Warp Instability. Warp Instability can be used by any Sorc, though, I'm pretty sure. I don't think it's mark specific. This next one is Nurgle, which there are two different types of heals. This is the Flesh Circle, which you can't actually see, but it's supposed to be a big-ass purple fucking bubble around you. It's probably because I have my settings on really low, so you can't actually see it when I cast it. It's probably because I'm not targeting anybody, but oh well. The other one is Stream of Corruption, which is the poison beam, and as you can see, I just keep holding it onto them. Keep holding it onto an enemy, and it stacks up. The damage will stack up, and also the time, as you can see, it's still ticking. The time will also stack as well of how long it's there. So that's the Nurgle offensive Sorc ability right there. So that's all of the Sorc builds or abilities that you need to know about. Let's go ahead and get into the last build, and then I will get right into the gameplay. Alright, so this is the last build here. I'm not going to go into every single elite here because it's basically just copies of all the builds I showed you, just it has more loadout points and has a buttload more armor with it. So as you can see in this loadout, I have basically everything filled out. Aside from the pistol, of course, you don't need to fill that shit out. So this is the elite Traitor for the CSM, and as you can see, I got skulls on the pikes on my back, and I got nice glowing eyes. So yeah, it's basically the same thing as a tactical I said earlier. It's just much tankier, and you just have more loadout points to work with. Veterans in this game you can only use one life for, though, so you have to use this wisely. You don't want to just use it at the start of a game and instantly lose it. You want to use it on like when you're attacking like the last point or defending the last point. So that's all I'm going to go into with Elite. That's all you really need to know. So that concludes all of the builds, and we're going to get right into the gameplay, which is coming up next right here. Alright, so here we are with the gameplay portion of the tutorial video. I do want to throw a disclaimer there that before I after I finished my garrison tutorial of all the loadouts, I did forget to mention that I'm going to put the advancement tree part in. So after this game that I'm showing you here, I'm going to be going and adding the advancement tree, which isn't going to take that long. The advancement tree doesn't take that long to explain. There's only a couple key things I have to explain, and that's about it. Everything else is pretty self-explanatory. So anyways, this is a supremacy map. This is a 20v20 map. We are defending against the Loyalist Space Marines. Right now, the general starting of this game, generally the A point is where most people will spawn. It kind of becomes a little bit of a mind game at first. It depends on the team you're against. Yeah, like I said, they're capping B right there. Sometimes they'll go for A like hell. Other times they'll rush C, but B is usually the most unexpected point that the enemy team will go for. So if you're on a point defending and they're capping something all of a sudden, you want to hit escape, hit redeploy, and immediately spawn over there and start capping that back. You don't want them to get a point for free like this. So what I do is, of course, I redeploy, and I'm running in here. I'm gonna sometimes I'm gonna pause a little bit here sometimes, talking, just let the gameplay speak for itself, kind of, and then I'll just get back to talking. So, I kill that guy, I come around, I nade trick this dude, and then I check up here, see if there's anybody hiding up here, waiting to peek as one of us caps, and then there's a jump assault here, I just headshot the fuck out of him, and I cap back. This is what a tactical does. Anybody can cap back, by the way, it's not specific to tacticals. Tacticals can cap points, though, from the enemy. So we go ahead and redeploy because C is starting to get captured now. You can see on the map to the south there's a rhino there. They're going to be approaching from a little bridge there. Generally, we spawn towards the southern stairs here, right here. So generally, the general rule to run up here is you don't want to run through there, you want to run up to the left here. But I decided to run through the middle here because one guy shows up, and I missed my nade like a fucking idiot here. Generally, I shouldn't have wasted my nade there, though, but there's a guy camping there. I don't know why he's not taking cover. I guess he thinks the APOT nade's just that OP, so I kill him, and I notice there's a guy on the second floor. I think about going to a fourth flank, but I just end up running it anyway, and I try to approach in the bottom here to prevent him from shooting me, and then he decides to jump down and try to revive this guy, thinking I'm flanking, thinking he has time to revive him, so I kill both of them and kill the guy back there, and then I cap the point back. There is a guy going to be running up here, right there. I stop capping, I threaten to headshot the fuck out of him, and I go ahead and cap this back. And then I basically just sit here, I resupply my nades and ammo. Okay, no I don't, what the fuck, I'm an idiot, why did I not do that? I got hit by a random nade and I'm basically running around, yeah, right here waiting for the next wave to come in because the rhino's still south of the point. Generally one more wave will come in to try to get the point, and then generally they'll start to move towards the next point, which is probably going to be A since they failed on the B and C cap, thinking that most of the team is going to be there. Most of our team, that is. That's just one guy left from the spawn wave, probably. So we have B and C pretty much covered, especially C. I don't know what this dude's doing, spamming knives and shit. Get out of my face. So we have B and C covered. In about 20 seconds here, I call this in chat already. I'm going to say checking A. I already know they're going for A before they even starts capping. See, it starts capping. It's because the main is very close to A, and B and C have already been a failed attempt at them, so they're kind of desperate, and they're going to get as many people on the A point as possible, and the way to do that is to, of course, either run from main or move their rhinos from main or from B and C towards A. So we spawn back here, and this is usually the flanking point that is pretty obvious of where we're going to come in from. There's plenty of points to get into A here, but I go ahead and nade trick this guy. I stun him. That's the stun I was talking about in the video, and I basically just go ahead and constantly peek and player on cover here, and keep killing these guys as they keep trying to peek. So I'm going to go ahead and just chill for a bit and let the gameplay speak for itself. And as you can see here, I'm always aiming at least upper chest. When you're hip firing, generally you're going to get mostly chest shots, but you want to always at least aim upper chest and neck level when hip firing. I always aim for the head though. I recommend if you can't specifically aim for the head, go ahead and just go for chest and neck shots. I will point out, by the way, while we're fighting here, B is being captured. The reason I don't redeploy is because we're already putting a ton of pressure here. We're already going to cap A back, and B is so far gone in that capture that even if I redeploy, I don't know if I'm going to have a short or fast spawn, and I'm probably going to get into the point as it's already capped anyway. So that's why I choose not to redeploy and instead just keep pressuring A and using my power here instead. Because while we're capping this, we're defending, we're stopping the point gain, the enemy team on the bar there towards the right. So they cap B, but I'm going to stay here and just make sure A is covered, and our team actually gets into B right as it caps. Like I said, that's generally what happens, and they start capping that back. So now we have double pressure. This guy's just an idiot. I make a mistake here. I didn't wait for my iron sight, or not my iron sight, my aim spread to actually reset so I could ADS accurately on his head, and I peek and die. Luckily, the Slork's there to heal me up, though, so we're good there. There's an APOT nade here. Make sure you kill those if you're on the enemy faction. I'm not sure how I didn't see that guy cap in the A point. I'm kind of just getting relaxed here and complacent, but who gives a shit? We start capping it back. B gets interrupted, and even though that was pretty shit, we're still denying them point gain, so very important. And I'm kind of just missing some shots here. I was using a new sensitivity with this game. I was switching on my sensitivity a lot. So some of my shot might be off here. While this is happening, C hasn't been capped yet. Like, of course, I kind of go on a pretty crazy killing spree here, so feel free to either listen to me or watch this shit. There's the reason why C isn't being capped yet. As you can see, there's a buttload trying to defend A because they're still at a point where they can actually defend both of these points and still win. They don't need C yet. Even with that little bit of a bar, having 2 points like this, while it's not being constantly interrupted like this, will win them the game eventually. So that's why they're still trying to defend A like crazy here. And as you'll see in about the next like 5-10 seconds, I'm going to call for a push onto B. As you can see, there's already teammates north of B right there. I'm typing probably to call for B right here. It's hard to see in this small screen, but they should be going for B now to try to get that, since basically like 8 or 10 of the enemy team are just sitting in A. We should be able to overpower and get B. I choose to spawn on the Rhino at A, since I don't have a spawn point on B, so I continue to just keep pressuring A to force them to stay there while our team works on B. What this does is it still applies double pressure here. Of course, there's a nade right there. I just juke out of that and just headshot him. I try to save. I don't think I saved this guy. Oh, I do save him. I think I let him bleed out because I just don't have time to res him. Unless he actually crawls all the way over. No, he just straight up dies. Okay. This is why I said I couldn't actually record and narrate in-game, by the way. You notice how fast I'm talking? I actually can't talk this fast and play at the same time. I had to have my full focus on the game or not at all. So there's a heavy bolter there. I choose not to peek. I go around, knowing that I'm going to have people coming for me, like this melee guy right here. Since the heavy bolter's shooting in that direction, they're going to go check out why he's shooting over there. So I kill him. I res this guy. There's a Sorc here. I should have waited for the Sorc to heal me here, but I think I get out okay. I believe. I go help this guy over here. Yeah, I go help this guy over here. I kill him. Kill that guy. I think we start an A cap eventually. Oh no, this is where I die, because I thought I had a friendly behind me, but apparently he moved up forward. I just didn't notice that a friendly just comes and flank, or an enemy comes and flanks us. So we don't have a Rhino left on either A or B for me to spawn on, so I choose to spawn on C, because right now we are holding pretty nicely. They're not really going for a C attack yet, because once again, like I said, they don't really need it yet. But so a few of the pugs usually try to go to C, so I just spawn on here because that's my best course of action right now of what's available to me. So I just, as you can see, I'm just looking around for any enemies coming in from any of the entrances, like the second floor door right there, or below where I'm standing currently, or where I was looking about 10 seconds ago, towards the stairs where we spawned on when we're defending, like right there. So just running around, making sure no one's getting in, while our team works on either B or A, just constantly interrupting. Uh, the game gets pretty boring around here, so I'm kind of just going to chill for a bit. You can just watch and see how the game plays out. I actually can't see what I'm typing in chat there. The screen I'm rewatching this on is pretty small, so I think I'm saying either interrupting A or B is fine. We don't have to go for a full cap as long as we are contesting. We're winning here. I think that's what I said. I think one of them responds with, no, we have to cap, and it's like, nah, not really. A cap would be much better, but it's okay to just contest here. As long as we contest for at least half the cap, it's okay. So as you can tell, I'm just chilling around here still, you know, just watching to see if enemies come through. Typing to the team here. Calming them all down, you know, gotta gotta put a cold towel on it. And in case you're wondering why I have a mouse cam and not a webcam for my stream, is because I get called cheats like 1 out of every 3 games. So that's why I have that, and then the message down there in case that was just like, what the fuck. So, you know, just one guy there. As you can see, they're starting to kind of show up around C. They're starting to kind of be like, okay, maybe we actually need this point for time. I think I make a decision to redeploy here, I think. I look at the map and I see there's nobody really on A. There's a huge B fight. I think I make a decision to redeploy here and see if I can spawn a Rhino and move this whole squad towards A and start capping that, because we have plenty of defense on C, and they're also not really pressuring C either. So yeah, I try to spawn a Rhino here, but I believe I see at least 2 or 3 enemies start coming towards C, and then 1 Rhino from B start turning and then going toward, yeah, see, it's starting to turn right there, going towards C. So I switch off of the idea to go to A and go towards C here. I start spawning on C, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, spawn on C. Okay. A teammate also spawned a Rhino anyway, so I think he's going to go to A. So I just choose to spawn on C just because you shouldn't really... You don't want to put full trust in the pugs you play with. You want to always just think about what is best for you to do to win this game. Don't ever trust your pugs to do something crazy like 1v5 or anything like that. Think of them as just like meat bags almost. They're kind of just there to stall the enemy team from just destroying them. It's up to you to actually stop the enemy team from doing whatever the fuck they're going to do, like attacking C here, so. Just kind of chilling here, just taking pot shots as they peek, as they try to run across. So I do redeploy here, and I don't remember, I think I spawned on this. Yeah, I do spawn on this, and I believe I either go, let's see here, I don't remember. I don't know if I remember go for A or B here. I think I go towards A, because the guy drives over towards A. Yeah, he's, okay, yeah, he drives over to A. I go into A, I don't start a cap, our team starts a cap, so I choose to redeploy back to C. Because with the time left on the clock here, the LSM are going to start getting a little desperate for time. They're going to be like, oh shit, they're just interrupting too much. We actually need the time on C now, almost like 100%. So I run up here, and I believe we start a cap right as I enter the room. And then I just choose to redeploy because I see how many people we have coming in. Oh no, we actually run into enemies here. Okay. Oh, I remember. I get team killed here. This is actually a good team kill, though. I would have redeployed regardless. I think I get team naded right here. Yeah, I get team killed. Okay. So, even though that happened, like I said, I would have redeployed anyway because we just automatically started capping A. And as you see, southeast of C, there's a rhino still chilling over there. We have a lot of friendlies there, but they're going to start moving more than just one rhino. They're going to start pressuring this. So, while A is being captured, they only have 1 point giving them points right now, and it's halfway with less than 5 minutes left. They absolutely need this point to win now at this point with how much pressure we're doing. So I'll just kill him, just kind of chilling. Once again, watching the entrances, just rotating in between, making sure they don't show up, and try to push in and try to flank. Because if one person's good enough, they will and they can cap a point solo if they're good enough. I've done it many of times myself on this same point, just flanking where I was just at. It's very easy to do if people are not paying attention. So we cap A, and they immediately start a cap, which is perfectly fine. We are still stalling them from point gain. So just going to chill here. Eventually, they're going to start pushing in like hell, as you'll see. They're trying to cut across there, which is kind of stupid. I don't know why they do that. They should cut across towards the right there. Even more so to the right, there's a little bridge there that they can cut across. It's much easier that way. And they can also take the flanking stairs to the side. Yeah, I remember this. I make a call upon myself to just go towards B because we're still holding C nicely, and they're not really pushing right on the point yet, so I do have some time to work with here. So what I choose to do is right here. I just try to just walk over, but the terrain won't let me, so that's why I stalled there. What I'm doing here is I go to B, and I see some of our teammates are running in, so already in my head I'm thinking, all right, as soon as I get here and cap this, I got to redeploy with my elite because we're coming into the last like 3 minutes here. And okay, yeah, we start a cap here. I'm instantly going to just redeploy since we have a lot of teammates here that I can see and some more on the way, trying to just deny point gain. Right as I kill this guy, I think I kill one more guy and then I just redeploy with my elite and just chill at C for the rest. So this is what I mean when I say use your elite wisely. Like I said in the garrison, you don't want to use it at the beginning because you're going to end up losing it anyway, more than likely, unless you're just a fucking monster. So yeah, I redeploy with my elite here, and I'm just going to sit on C and hold it because they absolutely need the C point to win, and if they don't get it, they will lose. And the elite just helps alleviate that from happening, because I have a lot more armor to work with, I have 2 grenades of course, and I have a scope for the heavy bolters, etc, etc. So, and if you're going to use the scope, by the way, immediately ADS and then hit your toggle button, which I think the default is B, but I have mine on C. So just FYI if you're going to start out using a scope. So I come back here and I kind of, when a couple of guys push up, this is where the nade trick comes in handy. You see this one guy, just fuck him, just who gives a shit. And one guy's about to re-peek, then you just kill him with the nade. That's where the nade trick comes in handy. Normally I wouldn't use it in one person like that. I kind of just said fuck it. I'm a pretty cocky player when it comes to games like this because I know we're more than likely going to win. So I'm just kind of like, yeah, fuck it, I'm just going to throw it. As you can see, there's a lot of LSM here on this one rhino. They're going to come across and I'm just going to AD strafe like crazy. Not really changing pattern here because you don't really need to change pattern unless you're against like a guild stack or well-known players that can at least hold their own in a bolter fight. So generally, I don't really change patterns here when AD strafing. That's more advanced shit. I can't really get into because I'm allotted for time here. I would have killed this guy right here, but as you see, the second guy came up. I had cover advantage there. He couldn't really shoot me while I was on with just my bolt gun peeking on the right side there. So using cover to your advantage is very important. Also, one thing I haven't mentioned yet, your radar is almost like wall hacking in this game. You should always be looking at your radar. It's almost like a mini map in League of Legends. You should be looking at your radar a lot. unless you're, of course, in a big firefight. But when you have a break in between a fight or where you're going to go next, you always want to look at your radar and see where enemies are. So if they're lit up like bright red and they're not like a faded red, the bright red means they're on the same level as you when it comes to the terrain you're on. If they're like a faded red, they are either below or above you. So it's up to you to decide where they could be based on where you're at. Like let's say inside here, you know, if they're either below or above. And like I said, just chilling on C, waiting for the game to end. Dude's executing him. Should have gone over and teabagged him for more BM. I missed my nade trick there because of the spread that I had. I didn't actually get an accurate shot on it, but it's whatever, the game's already over. They started attacking too late. But that is basically how to defend on a supremacy map. I'm going to go ahead and cut the video here, and we're going to get right into the advancement tree. Alright, so this is going to be the advancement tree part of the video that I mentioned right before the gameplay part of the video. I did forget to mention this earlier, so here we go. So this is the CSM advancement tree. Obviously, the different faction advancement trees are going to look different. But this is what the CSM looks like. So the layouts, like I just said, are going to be different for each faction, but they get the same point across. You just gotta find wherever the fuck they are. It's usually tree by tree, like I'm going to show you here. So if we start in the middle here, upper left here is the heavy bolter tree. What this consists of is loadout point cost reduction on the weapons generally, and sometimes there's totems here, like these are like war gears, and then the bubbles outlined in teal here are the veteran unlocks for each class. So these two trees right here, upper left, or upper right, sorry, these are the two melee trees. This is the ground assault, and this is the raptor or the jump pack assault. Like I said, there's going to be some war gears here, and there's going to be these, which are the loadout point cost reductions. Same thing here down here. This is the bolt gun or Traitor / tactical tree. This is the sorcerer tree. And one thing about the sorcerer tree that you might see is that there's nothing like, it's not like as branched out as this, or this. It's just one line. That's because the heals that the sorcerer gets, they come from these right here, which these are the marks. They don't get anything for Corn because Corn prevents healing from sorcerers if you have it on you. So this is Marcus Zinch to the left here. The heals, like I mentioned earlier in the video, Boon of Change, Flickering Fire. Nurgle is over here. You have the Flesh Circle, that's the AoE heal, and Stream of Corruption, that's the targeted poison beam that you can get. And then, of course, Slaanesh is down here, which you have Lash of Slaanesh, that's the offensive one for Slaanesh. Hysterical Frenzy, that's what I explained earlier, etc., etc. Now these at the very end here, these sigils, these are war gears that you can put on in place of the marks. They're basically marks, but with 60 armor attached to them. I actually don't use these purely because I get more loadout points from my elite, which I'll show you real quickly. I just use the regular mark and Totem of Treachery to get half the armor, but I get a lot more LP to work out with. Because as you can see, I have everything basically important filled out as best as I can. And I still have like 10 LP left over, so that is why I don't use the sigils. So yeah, that's basically all you need to know for the advancement tree, at least for the CSM. One little thing is there's a crack grenade right here, like these little ones right here. These are basically just the trinkets, some of these. Oh, one thing I did forget. These are the two armors right here. This is the red armor, the warp touched armor that I mentioned, and then this is the gold armor that you unlock at rank 5, the Daemon Forged armor. This you unlock at rank 3. So that's basically the whole advancement tree right there. So hopefully you learned how to play the game from this video. So I'm gonna go ahead and end it here, and peace out.